I'll do anything though. Anything that's on the menu.
We were the first brewery in the state of Colorado to make that style.
Really? Oh, really?
Back in 2015.
All right.
Well, we got to jump right into this. These are crazy nuggets of information.
Whoa.
So, hi everybody, welcome back to Rabbit Troop Sucks, and we are a podcast about obscure, forgotten about, and often overlooked film, cinema, and just witty banter in general. And I didn't want to get too much into side discussions because, yeah, as I was saying, there's awesome things being said. As always, I am Paul. Next to me is Mike.
Hello.
Next to Mike is Lamar.
Hey.
And for the first time today, his debut, Ryan is joining us.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Hi, and Ryan is joining us as a representative of the Fiction Beer Company, and just stocked my refrigerator with a million beers. And we're going to drink those beers, and we're going to talk about some films today. The first thing I wanted to note, because we always record weirdly out of order, is, Mike, this would be the first time we could be like, hey, thanks, Aurora. Thanks for having us at your Aurora
Oh,
Minicon.
yeah, thank you. That was fun.
Right. We have an episode in between, but I just definitely wanted to thank Keith from the Aurora History Museum and Aurora and the Aurora Minicon for setting up. It was super cool. We got to give a guest lecture on Indiana Jones throughout time, and so that was a lot of fun. But now, everybody, it's fall, and it's Halloween weather, and welcome to the first week of fall, and I am so grateful. Thank you so much, Ryan, for joining us. We reached out to Ryan. Ryan, again, is from the Fiction Beer Company, and we're hoping to work with, a local company that highlights, the local ethos of Denver, Colorado, and some of that is drinking some awesome beer, and I was hoping Ryan would share a little bit about the company and his 9th anniversary coming up with the company.
Yeah, great. You took the thunder right out. 9th anniversary is coming up this Saturday, September 30th. I guess this will be in the past for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, time travel's strange that way.
That's the beer talking.
But yeah, no, we've been in the spot right on Colfax in Pontiac, near Quebec Street, east side of town in Park Hill. Kind of opened up as a passion project of mine and my wife's. She's a big book dork. I'm a big beer geek, and we were looking to open up a brewery, and it ended up, as we were trying to figure out who we were, she came up with the idea for Fiction Beer Company. So all of our beers are inspired by our favorite books. So she does all of being the book dork, all of the reading, the naming, the branding, the marketing of all of our beers. Works with label designer to get everything done. I work with the brew house and recipe development, and then kind of handle some of the back end finance side of things. So. Opened up there with 6 taps just about 9 years ago. Now we've got 12. We've typically got 14 beers on tap. We do all sorts of random events throughout the months and all kinds of fun stuff. Always something going on. We're, big part of the community there, and we do a lot of events for that. One of my favorite ones is going to be after this. We'll be right around Thanksgiving. We'll have pictures with Santa.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Get families to come out with their kids.
Yes.
Parents get to have a break, have a beer. They get the photo done, and they don't have to stand at a mall. So it works out good for everybody. But we've been very fortunate to do well in the beer scene. We've got a number of medals, World Beer Cup, Great American Beer Festival.
All right.
We were talking about hazy IPAs in the beginning. We were the first brewery to launch the style by about a week, but still the first brewery to launch the style here in the state, right immediately followed by Odd 13. First brewery to win a medal for it in the state as well with our New England style IPA, our Madam Psychosis. Back
That's awesome.
in 2018, the first year they had a category.
That's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks. There's some of that upstairs. That was one of the randoms.
Yeah, Ryan may not get us all the way through this episode.
I took an Uber here tonight, so I don't.
Damn right you did.
Well played.
Yeah, before we all got together at some point in time, I was like, I have to work tomorrow. So yeah. Yeah, Ryan, thank you so much. I want to talk about this all throughout. Yeah, the 2 beers we want to feature all throughout this month from Fiction are the Pumpkin and Oktoberfest. So, yeah, think of us, think of fiction, please stop by. And at some point in time, or throughout, I guess, as Mike asked, we're going to be taking breaks all throughout. So we'll just tell you this time. Normally I edit it out, but you're probably going to hear, we're going for a break. And that really just means we're going to be going, skipping through the sample selection that Ryan brought us.
Yeah. Well, tell us about what we're drinking now.
Yeah.
So in your glass now is MAV, which is abbreviation for the Martin Ascension Vehicle, playing off of it's on the can there, but I think it was the Martian that we did this one. Our brewer, this is one of his projects that he came up with. So when our brewers propose a recipe and a project, we have them read the book and name the beer.
Okay, that's
and
fair.
work with can design and stuff like that. When it's something we've already done before, or if nobody really wants to claim the beer as their own, then the rest of us dive in and come up. My wife and I come up with the name and the book and all of that. So toss around ideas and see what sticks.
I gotta say, I like the design on the can on Nav
Yeah,
there.
it's cool.
I love it.
Kind of like a mirror image sort of impression that we were given as you're looking down the history of a Mars mission.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
Has there ever been a bad recipe and someone's like, what's the worst book I've ever read? Because that's this recipe. Or should we not talk about that?
No, those beers don't make it to tap.
Yeah.
We send them down the drain.
Nice.
There's definitely been beers that have gone down the drain. If I wouldn't want to drink it, we don't put it on tap. Pretty simple that way. But this is a great beer. It's a tad non-traditional for the style. So a Marzen, traditional German fest beer, typically brewed in the spring, March, like the last brews of the season. They stock up on it. This is history of it. They'll age it in caves all summer long, drink it, and when it's all done, it comes out, and that's Oktoberfest. Right. And they bring that beer out, and that's how it gets there.
Oh, cool.
This one's a little non-traditional because it's a little bit higher ABV. It's 6.6. And then we used a little bit of dry hops in there just to accentuate some floral notes and just add some depth to that malt character. But this is 100% a malt-forward beer.
Yeah.
I
Love it.
Right
I have
on.
a super side note. Is it me, or does Ryan's radio voice already make me feel like he's putting us to shame? He's like,
It is coming in pretty good.
Yeah, I did other podcasts. He said, like, right as we just gave him some headphones, and I was like, maybe he did a couple. He's like, I've done 10, and then his radio voice kicked in. I was like, oh, shit.
You're going to have to run his channel through like a filter to make him sound like
Yeah, like a high pitch, like
Yeah.
a helium filter.
I just come on here and answer questions and drink beer.
If you want to phone in at any point in time, please hear the voice of Ryan, and he'll respond. And if you ask weird questions, he is not going to reply to you. Something I want to note in this movie, Maximum Overdrive from 1986, kicking off our fall and Halloween month. Clearly, we're going to focus on horror films or spooky films or all sorts of things. I definitely want to note, this is our Emilio Estevez three-peat. We started off with Free Jack, and then we went to Judgment Night, and here we are with Maximum Overdrive. And this is a movie Mike and I talked about it a long time ago. Like, yeah, like, I mean, we have all sorts of like ideas and lists. And as soon as Ryan suggested this one, I was like, this could be just an awesome one to kick off the month. And so, Ryan, this is not like an accusatory question.
There we go.
I just feel I said before, unless it's Mike or I picking a movie, I'm always going to use this going forward. This is not an accusatory question. Why this film? Like, what? Out of all the films that could be spooky, horror, sci-fi, noting that we talked, like, we're going to kick this off for Halloween, fall month, October. Why did this one come to your mind?
It came to my mind specifically because it just recently came to my mind. It came up in a conversation with my son and I. We were sitting there talking. He's getting into more. He's 11. More scary movies, more things like. By the time I was his age, I was full on rated R every movie.
Yeah.
Like, I was deep into horror movies. Everything Dark Castle was my favorite movie ever. And he hasn't gotten into it, so he's starting to get into it. I was like, what are some movies that I saw as a kid that I could ease him into? And we were talking about movies, and I used to go to Blockbuster and pick it out. And for whatever reason, this movie came up, and I was like, that wouldn't be that bad of a movie. Oh, he's also a big AC/DC fan, so we were listening.
Awesome.
We were listening to AC/DC, and I'm like, there used to be this movie. I remember watching it. Maybe you should watch it. I did not have him watch it yet.
It seems like you're coming from my father's fathering of me, Rico, and fathering me, and it was very much the same. Like, I was allowed to watch rated R movies, but it's very clear, like, is there a bunch of nudity in this film? Because if so, no. But if it's like Terminator, I don't give a shit. Like, if it's robots and guns and explosions, like, don't repeat these bad words, but that's fine. But it was always like, Friday the 13th, oh, there's like campers having sex. Like, we cannot watch that. I was like, what? And it was like super bizarre at all points in time. But yeah, I watched tons of rated R movies. I saw this movie probably when I was 8 years old as well. Like, this movie's crazy. Thank you, Emilio Estevez.
I didn't realize until I went back and looked at the year it came out and figured, okay, a year later it was at Blockbuster, so it was 87. I mean, it had to be 88 probably when I rented it. It was still on the outside wall. So I was probably like 7 or 8 years old.
So yeah, so I told Ryan, if you remember this from last week, I was like, I remember the movie cover, like whatever the poster is on IMDb or whatever that is. I remember the movie cover and two things. One, they always showed that Green Goblin face. So clearly everyone knows from Spider-Man, Green Goblin. And I was a kid, and my brother's a handful of years older than me, and I always thought there was some kind of weird Spider-Man affiliation. And my brother's like, there is not. I was like, but it is the Green Goblin.
Paul, you're
like,
not alone.
No, I know.
Yeah, I'll back you up on that.
I think they got me.
They got me too.
One,
they did it on purpose.
IMDb, there's a weird, huge trivia piece about like this guy restoring this, and clearly it was written by the guy because it's like, it then went to like Steven's garage where he's been waxing it for 3 years, but then took it out of the tarp. And I was like, what? Like, it's very narrated. It's very bizarre. But the second thing is, I thought the truck with the Green Goblin, because of the cover, I always thought it was a roller coaster. And that even intrigued me more. I was like, Spider-Man? Roller coasters? And my brother was like, it is not any of these things. But then I eventually was able to rent it. I think I was staying with my aunt and uncle, and there was the policy, like, if you're staying over, like, you could rent whatever. I was like, that movie at Blockbuster.
Have to have it.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, we don't have a restriction policy. I was like, I want to watch that movie. And that was the first time I watched Maximum Overdrive.
You chose well.
Wait,
And I remember that cover on it had like the little sticker on the side where it's like soundtrack by AC/DC.
nice. Yeah, I'm just going to jump right into the summary, which is, I think, one sentence. A group of people try to survive when machines start to come alive and become homicidal. Maximum Overdrive, 1986. This is written by Stephen King. The short was Trucks, and this is his only film that he's directed. And I saw in the trivia it said, a lot of people asked Stephen King, why won't you direct another film since Maximum Overdrive? And he said, why don't you first watch
There we go. Thank you.
And I also saw that there's a lot of rumors that this was in parts ghost directed by George Romero. I guess he was on set a lot of this.
I'd buy that.
Well, Stephen King, I guess, was coked out all throughout this movie, and George Romero was on set, and so there is like the acknowledgement of he kept asking George Romero's advice, and I guess a lot of diehard George Romero fans were like, there's a lot of like on-point direction that is the same in other George Romero films, but who knows?
Yeah.
You can make that connection and probably finger it.
Yeah. And I got to throw this out. I mean, Ryan, I have to assume you're on this podcast. You have to, in somewhere in your heart, love The Simpsons.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So
I was thoroughly impressed by the cast list when I reviewed it again.
Oh, man.
So, Lamar is the biggest Simpsons fan I've ever known. We have watched The Simpsons together for years. Lamar, Simpsons.
I'm surprised that they really put her this high in the casting list. Looking at her profile on Yeardley Smith, she's like third listed in the cast, and she's barely in it. I want to say she doesn't play a pivotal part, and you can already tell that
She screams a lot.
She does complain quite a bit.
you can
yes.
already tell that it's coming. I think The Simpsons was 87, and this was 86, so this might have been a year before or during the
Simpsons
first.
89.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, 89.
When did she do Tracy Ullman work?
Oh, that could be. Totally
I don't know. Well, yeah, you can already tell that the annoyance was there, and it's going to come. She uses a very odd Southern accent in this movie too.
That's
It
rough.
really blends in, kind of odd. But as a Simpsons fan, I just noted that.
So at one point in this movie, someone says, "Eat my shorts."
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was that the genesis of that? Did,
I
did she
noted
bring
that.
that back with her and was like, "Guys, we got to use this"?
I saw on IMDb someone also called out Emilio Estevez says "Eat my shorts" in The Breakfast Club as well. So there's a whole "Eat my shorts."
Wow. Okay.
Like it's like
Themes through the mid '80s.
Yeah, wow.
3 degrees of "Eat my shorts." Yeah, we're going to get a lot of weird people, a lot of weird names, and a lot of weird situations in this movie. and I don't know how everyone's going to feel, so I hope I could defend Ryan right off the bat. This movie is a disaster that I love and I have seen numerous times. And even when Ryan suggested this, I was like, maybe this or another movie. And then I even wrote Ryan, I was like, but I now want to watch Maximum Overdrive. And the next morning I texted Mike, I was like, Maximum Overdrive? And then I waited until this week to see it, which was... everything I remembered and more, and less in ways, but more in ways.
So I watched it last night. I was doing some work at the brewery, and I was like, I'll just throw it on the TV.
Nice.
And I threw it on the TV and pulled the couch around, just sat there, and it was great. My memory of the movie is about 10% of what the actual movie is.
Yes, Ryan.
that sounds
That's the
about
magic of this movie.
And it mostly was the blood.
Stephen King cocained all of us with his cocaine direction. That yes, even looking back, I was like, but this movie has a lot of amazing things. And then other moments, I'm like, what the hell was anyone thinking?
Yeah.
And so much of this does not make sense. How about this, Ryan? This could be a fun game. Do you think anyone working at the brewery is going to listen to this podcast at some point in time?
I have one employee who I can almost guarantee will be listening
That's
to it.
excellent.
I am hoping, even though that might not make sense to us going forward, but I'm hoping Ryan could be like, as we go through this movie, this is who my employee Deke is, and this is who Bubba is. Like, I want correlations to who in Ryan's inner circle is who in this movie.
Oh, man, that's going to walk a fine line.
Who's Wanda June? Who's Brett? Who's the Bible salesman?
God.
You have to be careful who you label who, because a lot of these people get offed immediately.
Yeah.
You know, some people might appreciate that.
Yeah,
I was the first to go.
Get put out of your misery.
Later, I would be, questionable if I was just sitting at the diner and a machine gun mode being down. I'd be a little pissed off about that.
I made it this far.
I know, that was my thought. I was like, man, you made it tonight. You're just like eating a burger and you're shot in the head. Like, damn. Well, let's jump into all of this. We get this opening sequence that Earth, June 19th, 1987. Our Earth is in the tail end of, what was it, like Rhea-M, comet,
Some comet.
a comet passing by, and we're gonna be in like the spreading end of that comet, the diffuse of that comet, for 8 days, 5 hours, 29 minutes, and 23 seconds. And I was like, damn, like, whoever noted the seconds on that, like, just note, by the time someone calculated that, at least 80% of the world's population is dead. But someone was able to be like, let me tell you how many seconds it actually took for that comet to go around. So, I don't know, maybe people should have been noting some other things. I will get to...
It was very specific.
Yeah. I'm going to also note this, kind of a small spoiler. There is a very big note about an alien presence at the end of this movie that is never brought up now throughout the body of the film, or really the conclusion until there's some words. So keep in mind, like, as we're discussing this, reading through my notes and watching this, I was like, oh, what's going on? How are these machines alive? Apparently aliens, but only in an afterthought.
Yeah, son of a bitch. Well, I didn't know. I just shut my brain off for that.
Right. It was like someone asked Stephen King when they were done with the movie, like, how did they come to life? He's like, oh, fuck, aliens.
Oh, I didn't get to that part. I just fucked off. And
Yeah, so that's the opening and an uncredited cameo from Stephen King himself.
He is the first person you see in this movie.
Which is super weird. He's uncredited, but yeah, Mike's totally right. It's the first person you see hanging out at a First Bank. You see an FU digital banner scrolling through, and you're like, what's going on? Some dude in some weird white hat, like he's going to play bingo, rolls up to an ATM machine, and it was like, you're an asshole, is spread out, and he's like, honey, get over here.
Yeah, he like calls to his wife.
Yeah. They call me an asshole.
Yeah, and then boom, right into AC/DC, Who Made Who.
oh yes,
AC/DC does the entirety of the soundtrack. Ryan, I have to assume with what you've told us, you're an AC/DC fan.
I'm a listener, yes.
Hells yes. And Hell's Bells.
And
which we'll get
have
to.
been since about second grade.
Yes.
very
Fitting in
nice.
time.
Very nice.
AC/DC is, for me, I don't know how all of you guys are going to feel, is a lot of fun in this film. As someone who plays guitar, it is very clear some of the score, and I mean this very complimentary, some of the score is kind of the band just like riffing out.
Yep.
Like, Just like, whereas like play a couple jam rocks, but they're so proficient in doing it, like it comes off as a score. It's kind of fantastic because I was trying to Shazam some of the songs. I'm like, I don't know this song, and it's clearly part of the score, which is just an instrumental. And I'm like, if this is just your random day of recording instrumentals, that's phenomenal.
So we mentioned Stephen King directed and wrote this. Is he an AC/DC fan, I'm assuming? And I don't know how much of the casting he did for his own movie.
Well, friend, the trivia on IMDb is
okay.
He approached AC/DC, said, I'm a huge fan. And they're like, oh, yeah? And they made him sing a full song.
Oh, wow.
And he sang a song to them. And they said, if anyone is a big fan like that, we'll totally do the film for you.
That's awesome.
They joined up and he said, I want you to be in the film, and they declined it. So they're like, we are not actors, and they are not in the film. But he asked them to be in the film.
I wanted to know if it was actually their van in the beginning on the bridge.
Yeah,
Because then the van is
look,
AC/DC on the side.
Yeah.
it looked kind of cheap though, so I don't know. But yeah, that's good trivia if it is. Maybe they little homage to
Great story
AC/DC.
regardless.
Yeah, so we get to, and just know there will be many AC/DC comments that I have all throughout this.
Yeah.
But we get to the Dixie Boy truck stop. We're in North Carolina. This is where it's all taking place. The other piece of trivia I read was, and this is actually kind of funny, is they built the Dixie Boy truck stop in North Carolina, and it looks like a truck stop. I guess it was convincing enough that truckers were stopping there. And they actually had to put an ad out in a newspaper highlighting this is a set prop for a Hollywood movie. Like, please don't come
Right on.
Please do not actually come for gas.
unless you're AC/DC in an AC/DC truck. Yeah. So basically, we get this green cloud, and it's making everything go haywire in what we are seeing, America, and clearly more North Carolina. We get to see this truck stop. We get to see a little bit of that. But then we're seeing like off in the distance, there's some automated bridge that just starts activating itself and going up. Why didn't people drive away at any point in time? Like, I understand maybe if you're at the very end, like the closest to the gap lifting, this could be a problem. But there's at least 20 cars that had 10 minutes of time to get the hell out of there. Am I wrong with this? I also have notes about a lot of watermelons falling out of a car.
Yeah, there was a lot of watermelons on that truck.
Why were there so many watermelons?
I have no idea
At
why.
the beginning, I was wondering if it should have been horror comedy, because that first scene just seemed complete comedy.
Well,
the way the watermelons fell onto the glass, where you've got the gore of somebody who had been crashed into, and then a watermelon just exploding.
I like how the glass exploded like sugar glass.
Right,
Car windows just don't. Well, it's cinema, I know, but the whole scene was just wacky. All the water, so many watermelons. There's just one watermelon truck, and they're everywhere.
I don't have it in all my notes, but didn't it also start off like some dude on a motorcycle, like just couldn't manage? I'm like,
he went flying.
So fast down.
I was like, that guy had the biggest opportunity to go backwards, but yeah, he was, flung off that thing and his bike. Yeah, super bizarre. I don't know what's going on.
And I think it was it was a van or a truck or something that was in the middle as it went up, and as they just kept going, all of a sudden it kind of cracked, and the axle just falls off.
I wrote that wheels are falling off. That is my note. And I was like, I don't know why that's happening.
Like, man, that thing was in bad shape before it got on that bridge.
Yeah, lots of notes of wheels are falling off, dude through window, more watermelons, watermelon truck flips over.
There's one odd scene where there was a motorcycle. The motorcycle fell off the bridge, but the way it was filmed, the motorcycle went up the bridge, and it looked like he fell up and over.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, thank you. You noticed
absolutely.
that. I'm glad I wasn't.
It was like the leading edge of the bridge as it was going up is where he fell, but
It's like, whatever.
Yeah, why not?
And if anyone's doubting the direction, now we have a hard cut to just Emilio Estevez, who's Bill Robinson, cooking, doing nothing.
Making some eggs.
And then we get another cut right to a game room. I like the game room, and I like the guy in the game room.
Do you like that guy in the game room?
I really like that guy in the game.
Yeah, that guy would have done exactly what would have done in like 5 minutes when things start going for
Steal
him.
cigarettes and scream, "Yo, mama!"
Well, that's my favorite.
I just want to give a shout out. That guy for all of you Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad fans, as Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, was it?
That's
I
what
didn't
that's why I was saying the cast list in this thing is amazing. Like, I saw that, I was like, oh my god! I went back and watched
That
the
was
scene
crazy.
again.
I saw that. Like,
His
wow.
one line amazed me. He's like, Yo, mama!
Yo, mama. That was nice.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that guy too.
That guy's yelling "Yo mama," and then all of a sudden, because now we understand that all machinery, except if you're driving it, if you're a character in this movie and you're using machinery, this does not work in reality. But all machines are now possessed. We later learn maybe by aliens. That might be questionable. But yeah, this guy in the game room is there, and there's all these video games, and like soda machine and a cigarette machine and like a vending machine, and they all start dispensing everything, and that dude just loads up. Because like, would I be that guy? I could already tell that Ryan is thinking exactly what I'm thinking. I watched that movie when I was like 8 years old. Like, this was my dream. Like, I didn't care about cigarettes, but if someone's like, there's like $1,000 in quarters and all the candy bars you want, I'd be like, dude,
Sign me up.
yeah. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah, that was awesome. This is he's gonna get his comeuppance pretty soon, so don't trust those machines at any point in time. Then we get Duncan, who later, it takes all of my life to learn his son is named Deke, and he is on the baseball team.
Yeah, that took me a second.
Well,
yeah.
I knew it's his son, and I knew where this kid is, but I don't think I knew his name was Deke until, honest to God, an hour and 10 minutes in this movie.
That sounds about right.
But Duncan, the father of this kid that we'll eventually meet, is also working at the Dixie Boy, and he's filling up some trucks, and he's all happy, and we're going to get the most iconic truck there is, and it's the Happy Toys truck that has this, it's a huge, Mack truck, and it's got the Green Goblin face up front, and it's filling up some diesel. And Duncan's like, oh man, like the diesel machines, the pump is broken. So what do you guys do when the pump's broke?
You look right into it.
And keep pumping, right?
Yeah,
Naturally.
You keep squeezing on a handle and just looking right into it.
How I don't know like the chemistry in this. How much damage would diesel do to your eye like this?
Not that much.
I mean, maybe you'd go blind?
I mean, it would be a
wow.
bummer. So
it didn't look like just diesel. It
Yeah,
looked like
black gunk.
crude.
Yeah, there was something else in there. Yeah,
It was really dirty gas.
I used to be a mechanic, and I got gas in my eyes a lot. I never went blind.
There you go.
Yeah.
See?
Oh, did you spray it directly into your retina?
Yeah, just sprayed it right in there.
I mean, the
Every
way
day,
this guy did.
That's how you test it to make
That's
sure
how
it's
you
good.
show
That's how you
customers
gotta do
it's
it.
safe.
Yeah.
You just put it like
Here's your inflation check. 15 gallons of diesel for $9.
Oh, when they were filling up those
Jeez.
trucks, that was a bummer. Like
$27.
right, like that's like 150 gallons. Like, oh my god, it cost me
Wow.
3 times more than that to fill up my car.
Jeez. Wow.
Emilio, we get to meet his boss, Bubba Hendershot.
Oh, what a dick.
This guy sucks.
This guy's fun. So we learn through a series of events that most everyone working at the Dixie Boy is on parole or has problems with the law. Emilio Estevez is no different. So there's a little policy that Bubba's got, and it's you work extra hours, but you don't clock in for those. So it was noted that you're going to work 9, but clock in for 8. Honestly, I didn't think that was the biggest thing. I was like, really, just 1 hour? I would have been pissed too. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm like 1 hour? I thought this was like, you're going to work 10 more hours. You're working another shift. I was like, 1 hour?
Wage theft is wage theft.
Yeah.
But it's Bubba. I mean, when you go deep, you go deep.
He plays the same character in every movie.
Yes.
Correct.
He's always got the cigar hanging out.
That's true, yes.
Yeah, he's always,
At
yeah.
Hingle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Didn't he call other people Bubba?
Yes, which was very confusing.
So when he was he just referring to himself as
Listen,
Bubba
Paul.
in the third person, like as a nickname?
Listen, Paul, when you're on this podcast, Paul, you Paul it up.
Well, because he kept calling Emilio Bubba. I'm like,
You
is
were
his
correct.
Is his name Bubba too?
Yeah.
I thought the first time he called Emilio Estevez Bubba, I thought that was his nickname.
Yeah.
But then I do agree with Mike that this is like the Seinfeld episode, like, Jimmy is a little sweet on you. Like, who's Jimmy? Jimmy really likes you. Yeah, he's talking about himself in the third person the whole time. It's super confusing. But he is insane. So I guess we could write that off. And then we just get another cut. Like, machinery just immediately starts going bonkers. This is actually one of the reasons I really do like this movie, even though it's put together like a weird puzzle piece that never should have really fit. It is a lot of fun and immediately doesn't dick around with stuff. It's like, hey, when that comet passes, well, shit goes weird. And I do like that. So we get waitress Wanda June just immediately hacked up in the arm with an electric
Carving knife, yeah.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Well, yeah, what were they cutting with that?
I don't know.
Roast beef.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it.
Yeah.
with the full on psycho noise soundtrack.
Oh man.
And there is a ton of blood. And what's funny is there's just a bunch of dudes watching this happen. They're like, is she okay? I'm like, and so at first, like, I kind of understand, like, you might not see it, but then it pans to the floor and there is an alarming amount of blood.
And like one of those guys is just kind of clowning on her while it's happening.
What did he say?
I don't remember what he said. He was like,
did it get a little jumpy on you, honey?
Yeah,
or something like that.
that.
Yeah, I can't remember, but
Like,
it was
okay,
like,
buddy.
what?
Electric knives.
yeah.
And then she's bleeding out. What the?
I bet one of those guys would have traded tip for just like bandaging her up. Take that.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Oh, wanted you to know.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Emilio smashes the shit out of it.
Of course, he's got to come in and be the hero.
Well, yeah, obviously. And like all of the patrons just kind of watching. They're like, "Oh, look at him go! It's still
Somebody
going."
should do something
Yeah.
about this.
For a moment, I was trying to read my notes. I was like, someone's hypnotized. It is true. We're back in the arcade game room, and the guy is hypnotized by a bunch of like psychic symbols, and then he is electrocuted.
Aw, poor
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, he had all the cigarettes. He had all the change.
Yeah.
I mean, he had it all. He just had to get the hell out of there.
Yeah,
Poor guy.
he liked it in there.
Then we get another cut. This movie's super weird. I have, extra notes. I always have more notes than I know any of you guys because I know I do more summarizing. But for this movie, it is just like side story, side story, side story, side story. So I'm taking all these notes because there's all these characters and it's basically like everyone's meeting up at the Dixie Boy. And I'm like,
It's the center of the universe.
yeah. And I'm like, I was like, I don't want to forget anyone in this. So we get another hard cut and it's in town and there's a kids' little league baseball game going on. And, one team wins. And I sent Mike the photo. I'll send this to you as well, Ryan. We often go like, what photos should we use when we release the film? I did advocate to Mike, which is also a funny picture, that we use one with Emilio Estevez because it's his third movie. But this here, I have that the coach goes over after the kids win the game. He's like, soda party. And I have it where he puts in some money and he's not getting a soda and he stands back. And all of a sudden, the soda machine just starts pummeling sodas right into his nuts. And I have a freeze frame picture of the first impact of flying soda to testicles. I feel really bad for this guy because he's just trying to buy some kids some sodas. Then
Right, and we're laughing at him getting his dick hit by a soda can.
Yeah,
until the next
Those
one.
faces.
yeah, the laughter ends when the soda can next gets lodged into his skull for a little bit, and the dude is still like sort of alive and bleeding out and looking at who we later learn is Deke, Duncan's son. And what's nuts, this movie does not pull punches. Then a steamroller comes in and just starts running over children.
Did you read the trivia about this?
That Stephen King and his bag of blood.
His bag of
Go
blood.
for it.
Yes, he wanted to have the steamroller run over a bag of blood so that it would pop and like you'd see the stripe on the whatever, the wheel, the cylinder, but it didn't work right and it just exploded, which he thought was better.
But then,
Like I guess the ratings board was like, no, you can't have a child's head exploding.
yeah, I like that. I would have loved to have been in the censor like judgment quarters for that. Like,
Right.
Let's watch the scene where a steamroller mows down a bunch of children. But you know that bag of blood? That's
too much, yeah.
Like, I didn't sign up for this. Like, my God, my kids will eventually...
I mean-
Ryan's kid is going to watch this film.
Yeah. If the steamroller didn't get him, the soda cans did. Because I feel like the soda took out a lot of those kids.
This brings me back to Ryan and his wife.
I mean, it took out like the whole field.
Yeah,
It was punching them every
It was
which
a
way.
whole team.
Except for Deke.
Yeah.
Deke's
Well,
the golden boy.
He's wily enough.
Yeah, what did he have? Like an umbrella or like a tray or something?
Oh, yeah.
He was like shielding himself with.
And then
yeah.
got on his magic bike and rode off.
Yeah, he fucking got out of there.
This brings me back to Ryan and his wife. Ryan, you said your wife named a lot of the beers.
Yep.
Did you tell your wife you were watching this film with us? And has she seen it? / what is her reaction to this film?
No. I told her I was watching it. Yeah, she was, what movie you're watching? So I explained it to her. She's like, oh, that's nice.
That sounds great. Yeah. I'll be
No,
somewhere
she would
else
never
now.
watch. If I sat her down to watch this movie within 10 minutes, she would have gotten up and been like, nope.
All right.
Does she not agree that I would assume the short story Trucks is a literary masterpiece?
I might suggest it to her for a book club.
We do that. We do a little back-to-back Lawnmower Man. Let's get all the Stephen King
All the
short
shorts.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Put it all in. And by the end of the night, I will never want to read or see anything with that.
That's your ending Stephen King crawl.
Well, normally I said I'm going to edit this out. I'm going to be super direct. You know, Ryan brought us a ton of beer from Fiction Beer Company. So we're going to take a quick pause. We're going to refill some beers. We're going to come back and tell you what that beer is. And we're going to tell you how Deke fares as he takes a little stroll with his bicycle and fends off sprinklers and lawnmowers. As promised, we came back, and as normal, I would have edited this out, but we're just going to straight up tell you, and we refreshed some beer. Ryan, can you tell us about this beer?
Yeah, this is Sweet Sedition of Magic. This is our 2023 offering for a pumpkin-style beer. It's a brown ale that we brewed with pumpkin juice and then added, your traditional pumpkin spices, cinnamon, clove, a little bit of nutmeg, allspice, that sort of thing. We use whole spices that we steep actually in the beer, and then pull them out when the flavor's just about right.
Yeah, all right.
But I was mentioning just as we were offline there, this is actually one of the first normal, I'll say normal with air quotes, pumpkin beers we've done. We have a history of doing off-the-wall pumpkin beer, sour beers, and slush beers, and stouts, and all these other weird things. So it's a nice twist. It's very well balanced. Nice, really get all the brown ale in the aroma, real chocolatey, a little bit super malty, but then you get a little bit of sweetness from the pumpkin and the spices, and it just goes down real smooth.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, this beer is awesome. This is super weird, and this is for all of you listeners out there. I do not know how to describe this, and I think Mike and I have had this conversation numerous times. This beer definitely reminds me, and I mean this so complimentary, of just Colorado. There's like something about this beer and fall and the air kind of combining, and I know that sounds like bullshit. Like,
No, I hear ya.
But yeah, like someone's gonna be like, oh, whatever. Like, who doesn't hear this? Like, everyone has this. Like, there is totally something about that, and it's awesome. Yeah, this like totally reminds me of fall, and this is why we're noting these two beers specifically, the pumpkin and the Oktoberfest. This is awesome. Thanks again, Ryan. This is so good.
Yeah, thanks for enjoying the beers with me. Get to talk about them.
Well, we get to talk about some extra fun here in a second because now that all the kids outside of Deke have been steamrolled and Deke just BMX bandits himself away, we get to meet a crazy couple, and I'm going to throw this out. One of the members of this couple, I think, is my favorite member of this movie.
Yeah, I kind of agree. The husband, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Curtis.
Curtis. It's got to be the husband.
So we get Curtis and Connie, and they are just married. Oh, no. Wait. Sorry. Wait. Do they not come yet? Do we get Brett and the salesman?
No.
We were back
right.
with Deke and the sprinklers.
Yes. But he escapes. And then is the first couple? Sorry, I think I'm jumping the gun.
No,
that's right.
The hitchhiker's next, I think.
Yeah, so I'm jumping the gun. Sorry. So we get the hitchhiker, we get an unnamed male who is a Bible salesman, and we get Brett, who's a hitchhiker. For me, Brett is the biggest afterthought of this movie, just so Emilio Estevez could have sex with someone throughout.
100%, yeah.
It's a roller coaster of events, too, this whole relationship. Not Brett and this Bible salesman, but this dude's a huge piece of shit. At first, before I knew all their names, I wrote Hitchhiker and Hansy. Because this guy's like feeling up her leg and saying like really weird shit to her.
Man, he's really deep in there too.
Yeah, this guy's a total piece of garbage.
He's foul.
Yeah, and Brett calls him out every which way. Like some of my favorite interactions in this movie is Brett telling this guy he's a human piece of shit,
and to eat her shorts.
And yep, to quote Bart Simpson, eat my shorts.
Bart Simpson was quoting Brett.
That's true.
You know who else thought that this guy was a piece of shit? All the machines seemed to.
Yeah.
They were like specifically gunning for him.
They knew. They knew this guy was garbage. They're like, even on Earth, you're terrible standard. Like, we need other people to be enslaved, but not you, dude. Not you at all. So yeah, at some point in time, I don't know, so with that, eat my shorts. Yeah, I just kind of noticed a couple side things. The Green Goblin Toys truck is still running. And we get to the Dixie Boy, and he's saying weird shit to her, and she actually saves his life. She pulls him over, and the truck goes, running. Now we get to a new couple, and I forgot there was two couples arriving. I remember Brett, but spoiler, the Bible salesman isn't going to be around too much longer. But we get the just married couple, and that's Lisa Simpson, and we get who's Connie. And she is married to Curtis. And Mike, on a scale of 9 to 10, how awful is Yeardley Smith's complaining and yelling throughout this movie? Again, my scale is 9 to 10.
It's pretty next level. It's a solid 9.
There's just one point that she's just screaming and just like, ah!
She is. If she is on screen, she is screaming.
She's fun.
She's fun and annoying.
I honestly didn't mind her. Maybe because I like her voice because it makes me nostalgic.
I minded her when they were driving. When they get to the Dixie Boy, and I'm jumping ahead, like they'll eventually get there. As Ryan noted, it's like the one place on Earth everyone meets.
Right.
She, with Curtis right here, is just yelling constantly. It's really bad.
Yeah.
Most of the yelling is just that her at her husband and his quote-unquote incompetence, even though he's...
Or awesomeness. This guy doesn't give a shit.
He's not doing anything.
She's
She's just being annoying for no reason. And the only person to yell at is him, and the only person to talk to is nobody.
They're starting off well with that new marriage.
Yeah,
They are. They still have the just married sign on the back. And
I see this lasting.
It's terrible.
If this was a different movie in a weird way, this would have been the couple opening up the movie. This would have been like a just married couple. They're unnamed, like, I love you, honey. And then they get to this gas station and like the gas attendant's all bloodied up and they're like, what the hell's going on? And then for whatever reason, the husband's now taunting a truck. And then the truck tries to run him down, and then they get in the car, and it still tries to run him down. We'll get some back and forth scenes where they're just driving, and then trucks are like gunning for them, which is kind of fantastic.
She's yelling at him and telling him what a dick he is and how to get away from the truck. His driving is kind of next level.
It is.
And he like fakes the tow truck out into driving off a cliff.
Oh, that was masterful. The way he crashed.
Yeah, it was so dope. Like, you're going to bitch about this, Yeardley? Come on. Give this guy some...
Oh, I never got her name in
He's the only one taking out trucks at this point.
Right.
I feel so. Emilio Estevez is our, in theory, lead in this movie and is noted. And I will say this again. I'm jumping ahead of time. Brett calls him a hero numerous times. I would actually
nothing.
Well, I would actually note Curtis is the biggest hero all throughout this film. Anytime someone needs assistance or their life is in peril, he immediately says we need to help him. Yeah,
he's always I mean, all Emilio does is like begrudgingly go along with Curtis.
And Connie's right there.
Kurt! Yeah, and please note, this is a group of gentlemen who love women. We're just highlighting this specific woman is terrible. This isn't like a woman's overreacting. It's just literally for 10 minutes as an audience member, we get to hear someone yelling.
And this movie, maybe this is a Stephen King issue. There's not a lot of strong female characters.
I was just about to say, all these women are terrible in this movie. All of them.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I got to see Wanda June overcome a...
electric knife?
Yeah, Carver. Yeah. I get to see... Brett,
do
stuff.
If Brett wasn't in the movie, nothing would have changed.
Yes, it would have. Emilio Estevez wouldn't have had sex.
Yeah,
a couple times.
we would have seen Emilio Estevez just like jerking it,
or at all. There's no reason for him to be in this movie without Brett at all,
because he doesn't do fucking anything.
No.
He would have been a lot angrier, ran off,
which was his job that he was not getting paid for.
Yeah,
he makes the eggs, Bubba fires them, and that's it.
He makes the eggs, he clocks out, and then makes more eggs, and then he goes to bed.
Yeah. Does he live there? Do they all live there?
I think Bubba was pretty clean, probably.
Because they have that room with all the porn on the wall that they keep cutting back
that was
to.
Weird. Yeah, that was
I think everyone just lives in that porn room.
Yeah, that was super weird.
Yeah. Honestly, like this might have been when I was a kid and I saw this. This might have been like the first vagina I saw on the wall of this truck.
It was really a lot of it detailed.
Truck stuff vagina.
Yeah, Rucksack Vagina is the best.
It wasn't just one.
Ryan, that was the tagline to this movie.
It wasn't just one picture. It was a collage of
It was a
maybe
collage,
70
yeah.
pictures on one wall of all hairy 70s beef.
Oh, yeah.
All up there.
A lot of hairy 70s beef.
So before we get to another hard cut, we then get, as noted, Brett saves the Bible salesman and just immediately starts flirting with Emilio Estevez. Like, they don't know I thought they knew each other, like, upon their the first couple sentences. I was like, you don't know each other? Like, oh my God, you're one step away from having sex. And they do.
Yeah.
In a couple moments. I mean, give it time. Let the relationship grow.
She has to get changed first.
Freshen up from the Bible salesman. She does say she stinks of that guy later on and wants his death stink off of him. Also, Emilio Estevez is investigating the Green Goblin car and finds a little Jack-in-the-Box Green Goblin. Why the hell was that even?
I have no idea.
I know it's a toy car, but I'm like, that was just weird. Then we get back to Deke, still riding around. That's why I have all these notes, because it's really just like this group, this group, this group. Then my notes are like way more evened out when everyone's together, because I'm like, thank God. I was really struggling to just find everyone's name. Again, I didn't go back, or I had to go back and write Deke's name, but he is now battling sprinklers. I was like, are you kidding me? But that was pretty low key. As noted, everyone was mulled over by a steamroller.
Yeah.
So.
I loved as they were panning around this neighborhood he's riding through. Everybody's dead.
Yeah.
There's no machines anywhere nearby until they come to the lawnmower eventually, but there's like a lady in a bush over here, and she's just bloody on the feet, but no machines anywhere nearby. So I want to know how all these people died.
It's a good question. I mean, there was a lady like hanging out of her car window.
Yeah,
Like,
there were a lot of people
what
hanging
happened
out
to
of their
her?
car windows in this movie. Like, that was the universal sign of you died in your car because you were
Right,
hanging out
yeah.
the window.
But how did they die? What did the car do? Because no one, I mean,
The cars did not attack anybody. Cars were on the side of the humans.
apparently.
Well, I have a couple questions about the car. Why is the car that Connie and Curtis are driving no problem whatsoever? So that's not possessed. Like, that's not really explained. And there's other vehicles that are used later, not explained. Super weird. I note side music, because I'm noting music all throughout. Just general rock riffs by AC/DC.
Yeah.
And honestly, this is what I was trying to Shazam, because I was like, I don't know these AC/DC songs. They're super awesome. Again, this is what you get when you get super proficient and fun people playing music. Like, we don't need to write lyrics. We're just going to, jam together, and some of this is going to be a score. Way to go.
This is the best job ever.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, to give an opposite, which a movie we'll probably never review on here because it's so awful. There's a movie called Roller Gator that we all watched. And
No, we can't. We can't.
No,
ever.
I
Professionals
yeah.
have already riffed this
Yeah.
movie. We can't go at it.
Oh, they're not as professional as us.
Gotta raise the standard.
Yeah.
The score of the movie, and I'm not even joking, and it's not a long movie. It's like an hour and 15 minutes. It's like super low budget, so it's even like shorter in time. Imagine, and this is not even a joke, imagine you approach someone, probably who needs a job and money immediately, and you're like, I want you to play guitar on an acoustic guitar for an hour and 15 minutes and never stop. And that is the soundtrack to Roller Gator.
At no point in that movie is there not acoustic guitar.
They
playing.
never edit it
never
out.
stops.
Like, people were like, I'm gonna go get a milkshake. Yeah, I'm gonna see my dad too. Like, it is literally an hour and 15 minutes of someone playing.
It doesn't stop when people talk. It doesn't stop when someone's doing something. It is constant.
That is
Just keep playing. It's fine.
Never stop.
that is not this movie, thank God. But
But
lots
if it was, I'd have been okay with it.
Well, yeah, because it's super fun. That's what I'm noting. Like, you get someone in a group that's proficient. Like, this is super fun. Like, I am assuming, even like someone who likes guitar, some of this is probably like, we could use it or not. But it's clearly a bunch of people having fun. So, I mean, it's just really cool.
Well, and throughout the movie, it seemed too like there were points where it kind of got to a lull, and then all of a sudden the guitar would pick up and it would get much more exciting.
Yeah.
And the last 30 minutes of this movie is like the greatest hits of AC/DC. It's no more like rock riffs. It is, honest to God, like 7 back-to-back songs. We also get an ice cream truck that's possessed. That's hunting down Deke. That's kind of fun for me.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of noted on the side. It reminds me of, if any of you guys played the game Twisted Metal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Sweet Tooth tracking people down. So we go back.
They're making a movie out of that. I
Are
believe.
they? Well, they made a show out of it.
Oh, was it a show?
Lamar,
Okay, it's a show.
Lamar and I
Okay,
watched
my
the
bad.
first couple together. I thought it was okay, but at one point in time, Lamar and I were like, maybe we'll watch this. And then we just thought about other options, and we're like, yeah.
Yeah, I watched an episode with you guys. It looked like it was filmed with someone's phone. Like it had that kind of like soap opera weird filming quality to it. I don't know.
I'm hearing okay things about it. I might go back and finish it. It's a short series, but I just didn't want to continue it at that time.
We get Duncan. Excuse me. We get Duncan, who we learn is Deke's father. He's somewhat blinded and is trying to find his son. And he's like, I'm going to go out there and we're going to do this. This is bonkers. And he's just immediately backed
I got to
over.
save my son. Don't do it.
Yeah, he's
Trucked.
dead.
Yeah.
Like he's just straight up dead. Then the salesman, the Bible salesman, he goes apeshit and starts shouting at trucks.
Well, because one of the truck hits his car.
Yeah.
And then he says what might be my favorite line of the movie.
What is it?
You want to rock and roll with me, puss bag?
Nice.
Like, does he know he's talking to an alien truck? Does he not understand what's happening?
He doesn't, because they back him over and he flies out of his shoes. That his shoes are still on the ground and he is yeeted backwards into some ditch, which they then devise a plan later to go get him.
Well, they think he's dead, but yeah, later on he starts complaining.
Yeah, and I love
His
his
was the
complaints.
most disappointing death of them all.
Yeah.
And it seemed like, and yeah, the shoes helped. When they panned back to the shoes and they were just sitting there underneath the truck.
That was confirmation, Ryan. You're like, all right, like this dude's death sucked, but I saw those sweet shoes. It's weird. Like, yeah, the trivia that Stephen King was coked up during this movie, it's coming off a little cross on some of these scenes.
Because of how rad they are.
That is one way to describe certain things. Bubba is scrambling to get on a CB and fails. Brett is checking in on the salesman, but then sees what's happening, and then she starts changing right in front of Emilio Estevez. And he's like, why are you changing? She's like, because I was in the car and he was a creep and I could smell him and now he's dead. So that's when I change. So next time you see me in public and I'm just like changing on the street, I just didn't like the smell of that salesman. So take that, world. I got trucks still rounding up. I have a lot of scattered notes here because, again, it's almost the culmination of everyone.
But she goes from jeans and like a shirt and a jacket, seemingly practical outfit, to like a mini skirt and a tank top.
Where'd she get that?
I mean, if you're fighting a bunch of machine monsters that you don't know what's going on and you're stuck in this truck stop with a bunch of people.
But you want to look cute for the line cook.
Obviously,
that you just met. So,
She kind of is dressed up like the lead from a movie Mike and I have discussed we would be willing to do, Night of the Comet, like short skirt. But makes sense. That makes sense. Like she's in that outfit because she was like out and about and is like, oh shit, there's a zombie invasion. But I totally agree with Ryan. Like, there's a bunch of like weird trucks. You know what I need? Mini skirt, some boots, like just hanging out.
Well, you never know what you're going to get yourself into. So
I was pretty
the night
sure.
could go anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
I was pretty sure it's demon possessed trucks and electronics.
I was thinking about this point that was like, man, they're only like 6 hours in. How are they going to make 8 days?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she says somewhere to Emilio Estevez this knowledge. She's like,
oh, she figured it all out.
she's like, we're in the tail of a comet. Rhea-M was flying by.
It's common knowledge. Yeah.
As it does, and being in the tail end, like we only have 8 days, and he's like, how are we gonna do this? And I think that's sex scene 2.
That is.
She's like, we'll get through.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess.
Yeah.
We also learn very quickly that Bubba, who we have noted calls everyone Bubba, but Bubba Hendershot has a nice little supply of arms.
Oh yeah, he's like a black market arms dealer as well.
Apparently, he just he doesn't mention a thing about it the entire time. Then just comes up and he's got a bazooka in his hand.
Yeah, as one does. Well, he has the bazooka in his hand because Yeardley Smith and Curtis come cruising in. Running away from, was it the ice cream truck?
I wrote Connie nonstop yelling.
Yeah, she's yelling, and and that's when he has the bazooka to nuke whatever truck is chasing him.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And they're just standing on the outside of the ring of trucks, and they're like, "We're gonna go.
We can just gun it through the middle." Yeah.
Yeah, this is like the weirdest thing. Curtis is all or nothing. I love this guy's
Ride or die.
Yeah, totally. This diehard attitude of like, no, I know. There's going to be an opening in the circle, and that's when we go. She's like, are you crazy? He's like, we'll do it. I'm like, oh my God, Curtis, I believe in you. You married down, Curtis. She married up. Like, she does not believe in you.
It was around this time that I was trying to do research while watching this movie, and I had no idea at this time who directed this movie.
Are you
I knew who wrote it, and I'm like, who the hell directed it?
What?
I looked it up, I'm like,
nutbag.
oh, no wonder why all these scenes are like just what the fuck ever. And I was losing interest in the movie, knowing that. I'm like, if he's just going to fuck around and do this, I don't know. But then scenes like this kind of brought it back for me a little. It's just like, Curtis, he's a character I can probably get behind.
I love Curtis.
Yeah.
We also get classic dialogue from Brett.
Is this where she says the name of the movie?
Highlighting her backstory, and Mike is correct. I was a hitcher. I'm going, to blank and blank. I don't remember where she's going. I think she's going to Florida. And she's like, that got derailed before every machine went maximum overdrive.
Oh, shit.
That did it for me.
Yeah.
I knew I was in this movie one way or another.
I only like movies where they say the name of the movie.
Did she know?
Right, yeah.
And hey, guess what? We get a cut right back to Deke. Baseball kid, still going around. I do like some of his scenes. Deke, so this is fun. So Lamar just was like, I didn't know who directed this movie. All of Deke's scenes, if I just saw Deke's situation, like out of this movie, I would have been like, was this a scene cut from The Stand? Like it is.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It is End of Days. It is Stephen King. Like I do feel if there's like direction that should be notable, it's what Deke's going through. Because I do like, there's a plane flying, but it's flying erratically. He's hiding in the bushes. Like everyone's dead. I know some things are goofy, like the sprinklers are trying to attack them, but like overarchingly, like this is super The Stand. And I definitely see the correlation of Stephen King writing that, but
I know I've got the note in here for later on. It's a spoiler for towards the end of the movie, but you mentioned the plane. I love planes, and I saw the plane flying. I was like, the plane's just flying. It's hunting for people. He's looking for Deke. Did you notice later on at the end of the movie, they're leaving? Plane's nose down in a school bus full of kids.
Really?
Yeah. I did notice that.
Like he was hunting around and it found a target. It was like, I'm killing all those kids.
I like that I'm laughing about that. Like, those stupid.
Well, I mean, if it's not watermelons, it's kids in a steamroller.
But Paul, I agree with you with all those Deke scenes. And the ones where he's riding on the bike, I love those scenes.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably a huge point for me, too, is the nostalgia. Like, I saw this as a kid. I looked up how old Deke was. He was about probably 14 when this was released, is my guess. 13 when it was filmed. I probably saw it when I was like 8, 9, 10. So I definitely would have related to this kid.
I can live. If that kid can live, I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah,
Like,
I got this.
I played baseball. I had a bike. I had watermelons.
Did you have too many watermelons?
Lamar, all the dead children in this movie, when I talk to my therapist, I'm just like, they're watermelons.
They're watermelons now, and were
Just
before.
exploded.
And then he found out my therapist's sixth sense is really a ghost the whole time. So, but it was
Damn
a ghost
it.
of people.
That's terrible.
Did I skip over? Oh yeah, no, we talked. I was wanting to make sure that Deke's dad is dead. I want to note that.
Oh, yeah,
'cause
yeah.
Deke does not know that, and the tact of how this is brought up soon is pretty weird. But yeah, there's like the plane flying. Ryan, I did not catch that at all. That's awesome. Sad that it's a bunch of dead children, but well, I knew what I was getting into. I then note, again, more general rock riffs from AC/DC. I'm kind of glad I noted all these tracks. I did it a little differently when sometimes I note like songs. I'm like, something that stuck out of my mind. But knowing almost, I think it was like all but like 1 or 2 tracks was AC/DC. I like noting like when it's them generally probably improvising and just like jamming versus like their notable songs, because we're still kind of in the riff areas, and I think that's we're getting together, we're going to the Dixie Boy, but then once we're at the Dixie Boy, it's the best of AC/DC. And the sun sets and Brad and Bill have sex
Again.
Yeah, I mean,
and then the waitress starts to freak out.
well, I do want to note that Brett says, "You sure make love like a hero," and
Yeah.
And I think all 4 of us know what that feeling is like. So that's the core parameter of sex. That when you
It's
want
the standard to aspire to.
Yeah.
when you
Yes,
want to
it
make
is.
love to a hero, just listen to our soothing voices and our examination of films, because we did it in your ears.
Right.
As Mike likes.
I mean, I assume most of our listeners use this as background when they're making love.
And that is when Brett reveals after sex, like as you do, you have sex and Brett drops the bomb of like, we're in Rhea-M's like tail, and Bill's like, no shit.
This was the worst post-sex snuggling scene ever.
No, because also they come up with this plan. He's like, I'm gonna go to Haven and get a sailboat, and we're gonna go to a place that doesn't have automotive vehicles. But also, I want to note something. Okay, so there's not going to be trucks and stuff, but like I bet the place you're going to has technology to some sort.
An
like
electric knife, maybe.
Toaster ovens.
Yeah.
anything, yeah. Like Bic lighters might be coming to life. Like,
Even the boats they use, I don't mean to give it away, but even they had electronics in it.
That sailboat
and a
100% has a motor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
I was wondering the same.
Yeah, you're not just like sailing it backwards out of
It
its
falls
parking
into the same
spot.
category as the cars.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
that is
see.
correct. So at the end, there is going to be a sailboat that clearly has a motor. But in his fantasy, Emilio Estevez is like, we're going to get on a sailboat. He's like, do you know how to boat? She's like, sure do. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right.
Oh, she's like, I sailed a Hobie Cat once, I think she said.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, we're going to get on, I imagine like, I don't know, like what kind of sailboat am I thinking? Like one for like a 2-year-old that puts in their bath? Like it's just like you sit in a boat with one sail. Like that's how he's describing it.
Right.
But at the end of the movie, it is absolutely none of those things. But hey, guess what? We now got real AC/DC songs. Sink the Pink, AC/DC, blaring. It's in the night, and as Mike, I think, was noting, Wanda June freaks the shit out.
Yeah. We made you!
Yeah, what the fuck's up with
That
her?
becomes her mantra
Yeah.
throughout
For like the
film.
rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, we made you, and you don't understand.
You just don't get it, guys. We made you.
She was definitely trying to speak to the who made who.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey. Oh, my goodness.
Wow, that all ties in, yeah. Running outside, and here's what's interesting. The truck almost plows her down, but stops at the front door. Why? No idea. There's no rhyme or reason why these trucks are stopping, but they just will not come inside. They have to be invited like vampires. That's the story.
Well, you watch a horror movie, right? There's always rules to the horror movie.
Yeah.
And in this one, on day one, you can't crash into the truck stop. I thought that was just a rule you couldn't. So I was like, oh, yeah, they can sleep in there. They're safe. They're not going to crash in the truck stop. It's fine.
That's what I thought, too. They were setting the rules.
Right, exactly.
While all this is happening, and I'm probably going to leave this to another quick break for us, so we have some more samples. Everyone else in the diner or like the truck stop diner section just sitting around drinking. There was like a scene where people was like, Wanda June's like, you like, what did she say? Like, we made you.
Oh.
You like, you understand? People were just like this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's old Wanda June just going nuts. And boom, right again. Check this. Switches right up to AC/DC. Right on. This is going to be a trend now throughout this movie where we get these clumps of AC/DC songs, which I totally love. And I guess maybe before we take a very, very quick break again, I will note that we hear just these weird screams, and we find out it's the Bible salesman, and he's alive. And do you guys remember these screams at all?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
I'm
was
still
getting
on,
like
yeah.
a very Austin Powers sort of thing. Help me! I'm very badly burned. That sort of a thing.
Like, get over here. And we see that the Bible salesman is alive. And this is interesting because also Deke has made it to the Dixie Boy, but I don't blame him from not taking the Curtis route where Curtis is like, when there's a break in the circle, I'm going in. Deke ditches his bike and he goes through a pipe that is some kind of drain pipe from like the shower area. I don't blame him. I don't care how gross this is. There are trucks that are alive, whatever. So this kid's like going through. At the same time, Bill and Curtis go outside to try to help him. And this is one of the notes that I had again, that Curtis at all points in time is like, there's a man who needs help. Like, we got to go.
I'm there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if there is one hero of this movie, it's Curtis start to finish. I would say Bill is more who Curtis should have been. Like, I will help you. I'll do stuff. I also like Curtis is like cracking wise while in peril. This would have been me at every point in time. Like there are trucks alive. Do you think I'm not going to make a joke about this? Like, I know we're about to die, but you two, especially knowing me, like, do you think I'm going to be like, oh no, we're going to die?
I think Curtis is actually enjoying himself. He's got his tie on as a headband.
I wrote they're now BFFs.
Yeah, and he's got like a huge gun that he stole from Bubba's armory.
Yeah.
And he's just ready to party.
I wrote they're going through a pipe and there's a little time for tomfoolery. And boom, new
always time for
AC/DC
tomfoolery.
song, For those about to rock, we salute you. Yeah.
That's my favorite AC/DC
That's
song.
an awesome song.
And it cut in at the right time because that's when Bill and Curtis were preparing to go down into the hole.
Yep.
And they were about to rock.
Yeah.
And for
What was
those who
that they
were
went
about to.
into when there was like the hole in the armory, right?
Yeah, I think it connects to the storm drain that Deke was.
But it was like
connecting
made out
to.
of. It was made out of 2x4s.
Yeah,
Right,
It was like a 2x4 tunnel.
So across from the Dixie Boy, I think there's like a shower unit, and then they took out like a sewer top, which then leads to that 2x4 cavern, which then leads to a
drain.
sheet thin aluminum tube.
It's a drain pipe that's right underneath the highway.
I don't know how to build anything, but I think I could have built that. Like the whole time I was like, this is gonna collapse. Well, who built this?
And it wasn't even that deep under the highway. It was trucks were driving
I
directly
know,
over it. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
so I think before we leave off for another quick break, it would be Deke. We see Deke meets up with the salesman, and this is really funny for me because he thinks the salesman's dead. And I wrote, the salesman is super dead. And then all of a sudden he's back and he's like, help me. And the kid goes, how? And then he said, if you don't help me, I'm going to kill you.
Right.
And then, so hear me out. I don't know if I have enough notes for this. Curtis and Bill pop out of the pipe that Deke was kind of near. They pull Deke in, and the truck comes after them. I am assuming the truck ran over the Bible salesman, but I don't think we ever saw that. Am I wrong on this?
No.
I didn't know.
So that guy might technically, for now, still be alive.
Well, they said like they pulled Deke off of the salesman.
and
No-
Curtis is like, that dude's pretty much dead.
Yeah, he's
pretty much dead.
Yeah, he's mostly dead.
Well, I think it was more for Deke's purposes is we can't go back or we'll all die. But essentially, he might not be dead, but that guy is as
He's
good
gonna
as
be
dead.
dead, yeah.
Right, but I don't
Well,
think
and then
he's dead.
then the truck fucking crushes the culvert that they're climbing through or
Yeah.
whatever.
But the salesman still might be alive.
Let's
If
presume he's
He
not.
got better.
I'm getting better.
He was a shitbag. I hope he's still alive. He's in a lot of pain,
Yeah, we
and I'm
want him to suffer a
assuming
little
like
bit.
at least 20 bones are broken.
Yeah.
More than 20 probably.
Yeah. Oh, and then let's do this one little snippet. This will be our little cliffhanger. So Bill has a little side talk with Deke, and Deke's like, "Hey, how's my dad?" And and Bill doesn't say anything, and I note without words, he highlights that Duncan, his dad, is not doing okay. And I will admittedly say this: okay, we might need to get through the pipe, up this rope, out of the shower, and maybe this is not the time to talk about it. But immediately, you probably want to say your dad, who you came to see, is dead. But he doesn't, and they dance around this fact. And how we'll leave off is Bubba breaks the news. He got scrubbed. And everyone's like, "Wow, Bubba, you're such a shitbag."
She was the first
Nice
one to
tack.
be like,
Was that Brett's line? She was like, nice tack.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that was totally her comment. And my first thought is, okay, clearly there's some background where Deke knows Bill. My first priority, I mean, how old do you think Bill is? Like early 20s in this?
Yeah,
Like,
probably.
okay.
Yeah.
My first thought is, come on, they're both kind of younger. I mean, this kid's 13, Bill's like 20. She's probably one of the younger people there. And clearly Deke likes him. I can't imagine after getting through the 4x4 labyrinth that I would immediately just be like, I'm really sorry. I need to talk to you on the side. Like, your dad died. A lot of people died. Like, you've got to have that. But then, like, no, everyone's like, he's like, where's my dad? And everyone's like,
Ooh.
yeah, like record scratch. Someone's like loosening the tie. Like, and then, yeah, Bubba, like, you got scrubbed, or he got scrubbed. Well, we'll leave off. We'll tell you some beers that we're having when we come back. So I hope you're drinking, and I hope you're drinking from fiction. So, yeah, there you go.
there it is.
Always.
All right, we're back with another beer. And so, Ryan, I think I'm going to throw this out. I think it's my favorite of the three. And I'm really surprised about the chili in this. So, yeah, could you tell us about the beer we're having now?
We just sampled our Nico, which is a Japanese rice ale with yuzu koshu, which is a Japanese spice made out of chili peppers and yuzu and citric acid. We mimicked that by just using yuzu and chili peppers. But we brewed a Japanese rice ale. It's about 30% rice in that beer. Real simple blonde ale base, so you could showcase the fruit and the chilies in it. So the chilies were the tough part. They always are anytime you do a chili beer, because you don't want to have too much. Nobody will be able to drink more than one. But it's got to be there, otherwise people are like, there's no chilies in this. So we steep our chilies in it like right before packaging. And we basically, as soon as we taste it and that's the right amount of chili, then we pull them out and throw it through packaging.
All right.
Yeah, so yeah, but this was a fun beer that we threw together really, really quickly last July, because my wife and taproom manager decided they wanted to do a cat adoption event. So we had to have a cat beer. So this is one of those things where I go to the brew house and say, guys, we had a schedule and we're throwing that out the window because we have to fit a cat beer in. So here's the recipe and good luck. And it came out great. Actually, one of my favorite beers from this summer.
Yeah, the chili is awesome in it. Like, I'm not just saying this. Like, the chili is, I still feel it on my lips, and it's not overpowering. So, I mean, like, whoever, like, really dialed in, like, the spice level, yeah, this
was our brewers. I'm not allowed to play with spice because I have... if it doesn't make me cry, it's not spicy enough. Typically, is a motto. And so when I taste things that are spicy, I don't get the spice.
This is a pleasant spice.
Like,
on this.
I have a day job where I develop things, and one of the things I did recently was a Mexican style candy with jalapenos and habaneros, and then I did a ghost pepper one. So I was eating like raw ghost pepper for days on end. Oh my God. And like literally, when you getting off topic, but you have this ghost pepper, and when you eat raw ghost pepper like that, enough of it, like it's hot, but it makes you feel like you are high. I mean, it's like, oh man, like it hits you for about 35-40 seconds, and you're like, whoa, I am floating. It's really a unique experience. So to all the kids out there.
Yeah, with eating that many ghost peppers, did you just have like immunity for like a month where you're like,
oh, absolutely. Like spice just would not touch me. Yeah, the month when I was doing that development, I definitely ate ghost peppers every single day. Oh my God. Started my morning at 9 a.m. eating ghost pepper candy.
I can't even imagine.
Lamar and I met like working together, and I was working in a kitchen at this point in time, and I'm just relating this that I'm such a wimp now that I'm like, oh, I need like oven mitts for. I mean, not that I shouldn't wear oven mitts, but I need it for everything. But when I was working in a kitchen for years, I'm just pulling like potatoes out of ovens. People are like, oh my God. I'm like, I feel nothing. And people are like, oh, geez. Like, yeah, it just calluses up. This beer is awesome. Definitely check this one out. I know you're saying you're just eating all these ghost peppers. Do you feel the chili in this at all?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay. No, I get it. It sits right there on your tongue in the back of your throat. It's a very pleasant burn. Yeah, it's not overpowering.
This is pleasant spice right in the back of your throat. Yeah. Like you described. You're perfect at describing these beers, man. Yeah. Just like you say.
This is one we like to take as beer shots at the brewery with staff.
I can see that. I can see that, definitely.
Absolutely, yeah. This is fantastic. As fantastic as your father getting scrubbed, where we left off.
What?
And then we just see a bunch of scenes of, the machines are still doing things. They're driving around the highways. The trucks are still circling the Dixie Boy.
I was literally sitting there going, when are they going to run out? This is great. They're just going to run out of gas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then nobody will have to worry anymore.
But the machines know too much. And the trucks start tearing up the area. You don't really know why. Bubba's still shooting rockets, as you do. But then I don't even know what kind of vehicle this is.
I have a lot of questions about this.
So this like G.I. Joe play Jeep rolls. Like I don't know what little golf cart.
Well, like it looks like in old timey movies and like cartoons. The thing, on the train tracks that like
you're pumping both sides.
Yeah, that you have to crank back and forth. It looks like that, but with a gun on it.
Yes,
and it's just driving itself there. It comes teamed up with a bulldozer
and unlimited ammo. Apparently,
so much ammo.
And it's in charge. It's super weird.
Yeah, this is the boss. We found the supervisor.
I assume the trucks called in for both the bulldozer and the gun.
Right.
And that's what was sent.
Because they needed something to menace the inside of the the Dixie Boy.
And we get Wanda June freaking out again. We made you.
Oh,
Can't you understand?
And they could, and immediately she gets shot by the gun.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Mike is correct. I like this no-nonsense machine mentality. And if asked if I would join their team, I might. Because when people step out of line, you get shot.
Yeah.
And
well, actually, she freaked out because Bubba shot a rocket at the bulldozer, and he got mowed down.
Yeah.
Then Wanda June, we made you.
Yeah, Bubba's dead.
Yeah.
Wanda June's dead.
Yeah.
I actually thought Bubba's shot was really good. I was expecting the rocket to bounce off the blade.
I thought that's what it was going to do.
And I was like,
everyone was like,
that was
oh, Bubba, no. But it landed. He got it.
And then, thank God, we have key member Deke on the scene. Because Deke is like, wait a minute, those beeping sounds that military machine is making, that's Morse code.
I got a merit badge. I'll decode it.
So, yeah, and he decodes it, and it's all about, like, we need gas, fill them up, no fear, all these things. And, yeah, this is just really bizarre. Like,
Will not harm you.
Yeah, like, yeah, no one will be harmed. Give them fuel. Like, that's what's happening. But I also noticed... Deke's writing down the Morse code, and they read it. They're like, oh, they just want fuel. And Deke is still writing stuff down. Like, he is straight up writing, like, a novella. Like, what the hell he wrote, I have no idea.
No,
they never look at
They
it.
stopped paying attention after the fuel thing.
Yeah.
We got it, fuel.
If these humans ever knew that if you just blew a whistle, it would disarm. I was like, cut the chatter.
That's probably what it said, but...
What are the trucks trying to do? Like,
Yeah.
they've been driving around the Dixie stop for like a day and a half now. They run out of gas and they just want more fuel.
Well, you have one song that's going to lead them there, and it's Hell's
Bells.
And now we get a nice little collage.
montage.
Yeah, I almost said collage. Montage of them filling it up.
But as that started, didn't it seem like Brett and Bill were, they could hear the bell, like, bong.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wrote down
They look the other way, like the Hell's Bells are all around them.
my notes. I wrote down Bells Play as AC/DC's Hell's Bells Play.
Maybe this was like Stephen King's attempt at like a foray into direction for videos. Like AC/DC, now that we've gone this far, how about I just become a director?
Paul, I thought 80% of this movie was just B-roll for 80s hair band music videos.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I was just thinking
You're at the
AC/DC and
Dixie
Stephen
Boy.
King were just partnering up together and do it.
You just hang out with the Dixie Boy and chill.
Oh yeah, that's why they built a Dixie Boy.
Very quickly in this montage, it just goes wrong. Everyone's super exhausted. I don't really understand this. So it seems like some of the trucks maybe have like a little compassion because they're like, hey, like beep, beep, like move along or we're going to point the gun at you if you don't fill up stuff. But they have to know enough that like humans get tired. And that says like everyone now is super tired and they're like, they don't understand. But...
Well, Emilio looks like he's been doing hard labor for 3
All
months.
day.
He does.
Right, and also they just let him go.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna go. The one guy's like, are you gonna go lay down? And he's like, yeah. And I assume he just goes has sex with Brett. Like they don't show it, but in my heart, I know that happens. Yeah, that was super weird. So Bill's exhausted. He goes to lay down, and then he starts talking crazy talk. I have notes like, the earth is just a dirty house and, you know, with green walls and these trucks are the brooms. You don't understand? It's an interstellar house and they're the cleaners. They're the broom. They're the broom. I'm like, stop talking. Stop talking right now. But he says all those things. I just wrote crazy talk and underlined it. And then Bill tells one of the guys that they're going to run and they split up and the military truck shoots itself. Am I wrong in this? It like
No,
he spins it.
He drops a
He
grenade
on it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was writing that down, and that is clearly missing in my notes because I wrote that he spins the gun and they run. I didn't see the grenade because
Yeah, it was like 3 seconds. He was like,
It was a pretty.
they
quick
didn't
thing,
show
yeah.
him even like where he dropped it. It was
Nice.
just, it was in his
close
hand
enough.
and then it wasn't.
I know how video games work. You get at the proxy.
Exactly.
So now we get another night. And everyone is super, super tired, and everyone's planning to escape. And then we get AC/DC, Shake Your Foundation. Yeah. This will be a little trend of AC/DC coming up here pretty soon.
That's true.
Foreshadowing.
And this is when they try to escape, and everyone just basically goes through that dirty pipe. That's how you Shawshank yourself out of here, dirty pipes.
And this movie's just coming down
But it was
to the
now it's
close
day
here.
2, so now the trucks can break the rules.
Good point, Ryan.
That's true.
Because
They've leveled up a little
My
bit.
next note is they just get super angry and explode everything.
Well,
so-
they've got their gas. They got all they need now. They
Yeah.
don't care. We're going
Oh,
to take you
they're
out.
bringing in construction trucks now too.
And now they're going to the marina, as you do. Isn't this the end of what's the one where in the mall? Is it Dawn of the Dead, where they all go to the mall?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then at the end they go to the marina,
Yeah.
as you do, just like this movie. Everyone's got to go to the marina.
How about that?
I'm going to tell you this. If we're ever anywhere and there's something happening like this, and one of you are like, we got to get to the marina, you're on your own.
Yeah, what are we going to, like, Chatfield Reservoir? Or something? We're going to, like, go the 20 feet into the middle of it on a little catamaran.
You can't get me.
Yeah, suckers.
So there's a big split in me here. So as I said, like I really do like this movie and it's kind of disastrous. But I thought when we got to this scene, so they're now escaping the Dixie Boy, and my thought is, what if just like the shenanigans of the Dixie Boy were the first 20 to 30 minutes of this film, and now we're like trying to get out? And I think if this movie was a bigger budget and it was like them trying to Walking Dead themselves out of North Carolina to get to a marina, I think this could have been like a crazy awesome film. Just because you see some like more scenes, I mean, some of it's kind of crazy where they see like a fast food intercom and the speakers and the system, and it's like, humans are here, humans are here.
This is what. No, none of those trucks had a speaker they could have talked through. They had to do Morse
I
code.
know, right?
They should have been doing this, like, humans
Yeah.
are here.
Gas.
Route
really easy.
45.
And
Humans.
maybe they didn't have the AI to do that.
Maybe, yeah.
Just the burger speaker box, not the trucks.
Deke finally got into it there, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Deke was tired of this shit.
But this is super weird. So we now get the ice cream truck approaching, and Deke pulls out a gun and shoots it, and successfully takes down the ice cream truck. And Deke's like,
I don't want this anymore.
I'm done. Cool, bro. Like, there's other trucks and like things after us. Like, seems like you're a pretty good shot. We
Right,
can
like,
use you for the team.
maybe just hang on to the gun. Even if you're emotionally over it,
Yeah.
you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, like, cool. I've got your back throughout this. Maybe you want to pick up more than a stick because, P.S., it's a Mack truck coming towards us. I do find them funny as a lot of these guys are sneaking around with like machine guns and stuff. I'm like, in the greater scheme of things, like maybe you could take down a Mack truck with a machine gun, but there's 7 Mack trucks, and then the reality is there's infinite Mack trucks, so it's kind of crazy.
Right.
But we get the culmination of all of it, the Green Goblin truck.
It's been following them this whole time.
It went away for a little bit after it got gas. It's like
Yeah.
it like took a walk.
It had like an errand to run or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Took a little stroll to
Yeah.
the beach.
It wanted some alone time.
Green Goblin wants fun too.
I don't know what these trucks do in their spare time, but they just need their alone time.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is not really climatic at all.
No, it is not.
It like rolls up and Bill takes out a rocket launcher and shoots it. But here's the climax. It takes like, I swear to God, 45 seconds for anything to happen. So the rocket hits the truck and it blows up, but you still see the truck. So like the rocket is blown up on the truck, and you're like, okay, I swear to God, this thing was going to come after him again. It does not.
Nope.
It is
That's
just like almost a full minute of film of us just watching the truck, and then a secondary explosion happens, and that's it. That truck's gone.
I have a theory.
Okay.
I want to hear it.
Yeah.
The first hour of the movie, everything seemed to progress normally. Now, a little choppy here and there. The last half an hour, it was like, what the fuck are we going to do with this thing? We got to wrap this up somehow. We got to get them somewhere, and I don't know what we're going to do, but I don't have the time to think about it, so...
So you're saying the cocaine ran out?
The cocaine, the money, the motivation, something ran out there, and they're like, we just got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Let's be done with this.
The text crawl at the end of the movie highly
Oh, yes.
dictates that he ran out of ideas.
Yeah, we'll get there in a second. So everyone does get on the boat, and as Mike and Ryan told all of you earlier, there's totally a motor on this boat. What are you talking about? This is not just a sailboat from like 1900s.
And there's also like power boats in the marina there that could have fired up and come in.
Right.
They're all fine.
Yeah, it's
Everyone's
super
fine.
weird. We do get Who Made Who again, AC/DC, and they sail away. And Bill promises Deke everything will be all right. Why he thinks that? Total lie. Your dad's dead. We didn't really tell you. We don't know where we're going. Good luck. Stop lying to this kid, damn it. And then as
We're going
Mike,
to an island. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
right. And as Mike noted, we get some words on the screen. This is ape shit bananas. 2 days after a large UFO was destroyed in space by a Russian quote-unquote weather satellite that just happened to have nuclear missiles and laser cannons. I did find all of that very funny.
Yeah. This is Stephen King not giving a fuck anymore.
Yeah. So I'm like, so 6 days later, Earth passes beyond the tail of Rhea-M. So one, was this still happening even 6 days later? Two, a UFO? I do love all the jokes about like this Russian weather satellite, quote unquote. They even put in quotes like it just happened to have it. Like those Russians were sneaking something up in '86. But what UFO? What are we doing?
Right. I thought it was the comet.
We're just saying this in passing. Like, yeah, that comment wasn't a thing. It was also the UFO in the comment. Like, what the holy hell are you talking about?
I'm so glad I didn't read that because I didn't.
What?
You know what? As soon as I saw
don't need
the
this
words pop
exposition
up,
anymore.
I'm like, I'm done with this movie. And then I saw the credits roll. I'm like, yeah, now I'm definitely done with this movie. I looked to see if there was any extra credits or after scenes. Nothing.
You didn't even wait, and
Like,
it ends as
no.
Ryan already told you. You shook me all night long. Classic.
Yeah. Well, that is a classic.
Well, before we get into our final examination of this, as always, if you would like to reach out to us, please hit us up at rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com. Go to Rabbit Troop Sucks proper. Feel free to visit us, Instagram, Facebook. Ryan, where could we direct anyone wanting to get fiction beer?
You find us online, fictionbeer.com, or come visit us at either of our locations. We've got our Denver location on Colfax and Pontiac, or down in Parker.
Ryan would really appreciate if you would approach him at some time and say, like, I've listened to the Rabbit Troop Sucks podcast. I want to talk about UFOs. I think my meat carver is
Russian
coming
satellites.
alive. Yeah, Ryan likes all things Russian satellites, UFOs, and possessed meat carvers. So
Come find me.
Yeah, if you're into those things, that's awesome. I also want to note, Ryan, I wrote directly, I'm going to read this. Ryan, what do we drink during the end of days? If we're going to fiction and you're like, well, this is your last drink, what drink would that be?
Me personally?
Yes.
It's going to be a very high-end bourbon.
Yeah.
Oh, you're amongst friends.
I'm
in
right
this
there
one,
with you.
right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't make that product.
But if it was a fiction beer to go with that high end bourbon,
Oh, well, it's going to be the Madame Psychosis. It's always the classic go-to.
So
Nice.
right.
That's the beer for the boat on the way to the island.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right
You
on.
got it. That's what you're drinking as you're figuring out what the hell you're doing next,
When you're lying to a kid about his
and you're
dad,
worrying if
you
the
wanna-
golf carts are going to come after you.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm gonna go first in this. We could go in any order you want. I feel I've already noted. That's why I just want to go first. I think this movie is a beautiful disaster. So many things go wrong. In so many ways, this should not make sense. In so many ways, this should not work. But if you want to have a good time, this is definitely the movie you watch with some friends. You make fun of a little bit, but you have a really good time. And I'm not just overarchingly saying like this movie sucks. I'm saying it's clear Stephen King was on cocaine. It's clear that there was some directionless directing going on. The story plot comes and goes. Like Deke's story is so separated, as Lamar was saying. Like you really love those parts. I do. It's just such a different
They
vibe
are.
with his story. But I love it. Like the idea that there's like a robotic essentially or machine uprising. I mean, this is on par with Terminator in ways, just clearly not the budget. But this is a lot of fun. Like, what would you do? Again, I am just on Team Curtis. Curtis is the real hero. Emilio Estevez fills a couple trucks, has sex, and mouths off to Bubba. Like, I don't really know what's going on, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Thanks for being our three-peat, Emilio Estevez. Mike, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. This movie's fun. I've seen this movie before. I like it a lot. I don't like Stephen King's books a ton, I'll admit. They're mostly too long and I don't really like how he writes, but I generally like Stephen King's like movies, even the weird ones. I think he should have directed more movies.
I do think you should direct something
To
else.
what your trivia quote from earlier, like I think the cocaine was a selling point for me in this movie, and I would have liked to see a follow up.
So you're saying he should just get paid in cocaine, and we'll
Or
do
up the cocaine budget.
Yeah, they definitely could have used not a bigger budget for the filming, but for the cocaine.
I also want to make a really quick note. I know I said I would already note my thing, but like Mike highlighted this movie's fun, and I said the same. And that was the huge thing. I was actually nervous that if Ryan came on and we like didn't see, because one of the options was a movie we had not seen, and my nervousness would be like a really solemn film, and we're just like, yeah, and then like that guy dies. Cool. How's the beer? I don't know, man. Like that dude's dead and his like daughter's dead. Like dope. Like, I did not want that vibe for tonight.
I don't know what movie that was. One of the movies you suggested, I really want to do just because it'll piss Paul off.
Oh,
but he won't do it.
We'll talk about that off air.
Okay.
That Lamar is on my camp with that. Lamar, don't you worry. We're never doing it. We're never doing it.
Wow, I can't wait to hear this off the record.
Lamar, what did you think of Maximum Overdrive? Was it maximum?
It was minimum for me.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Wow. Minimum underdrive? Is that what
Minimum underdrive would have been good.
Okay, wow.
You did mention something, Mike, that maybe Stephen King, maybe he probably could have directed more films. This would have been a good starter film for him. But if another film that he directed would have looked like this, I don't think he has the chops for it.
So you are okay, like overall, even though you're saying this is lackluster for you, the direction of this film.
The direction is just
feels like a good start because this is his only film.
The seeds are there. You can see that he has a vision what he wants a movie to look like. And in his head, he wants to get his hands on instead of all these other directors that chop up his shit.
Just for my own purposes, can I get you to say you want Stephen King's seed on air?
Please don't. Don't make me say that.
I'm just going to use these things for my own purpose. Maybe a ringtone that I create. I don't know.
You can do that on your own, but he doesn't have the acting chops. I don't see it in him.
Wait, the directing job.
The directing chops.
Yeah, and I was like, because his cameo as ATM guy was pretty simple.
Hey, that was pretty nice.
I just love that the ATM was calling him an asshole. Yeah. You're the asshole who started all this.
It's because he's trying to get more cocaine money, and they're like, Jesus.
But I won't disagree with you guys that it was a fun movie to watch. It was hard to review for me, I think, is what it was.
How do you settle with AC/DC being the soundtrack?
That was a good choice.
Awesome.
That actually tied it all in together for me. There were scenes in this movie where I was like, this movie just sucks. And then, for those about the rock, I'm like, yeah, oh, fuck yeah. It gets you right back in.
Yeah.
If
Nice.
you feel like you're in a lull in watching this movie, AC/DC will pull you right back in. And there's some scenes that, it's not all a bad movie. There's some good scenes in here. Stephen King can do a pretty good job sometimes with directing.
I'm glad to hear at least on the soundtrack end because I understand like if someone doesn't like AC/DC, probably again not the movie for you. But if you like AC/DC at all, the soundtrack is A+. I mean, it's so fun.
Absolutely.
And that's definitely the balance of AC/DC. It's not just like we're some metal. Like, it's such a fun band. Like, if you've ever seen a live performance of AC/DC, it just seems like everyone's having fun.
Dude, the minute I hear the opening riffs to an AC/DC song, I'm instantly, like, amped up.
They are one
You're like, I'm going to
bands.
drive a Mack truck with a green goblin.
Right, like, it doesn't matter. No matter what I'm doing, what kind of mood I'm in, if I hear, like, the opening riff to AC/DC, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is going to be all right. They just, that band always turns me.
And you always know it's them.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Ryan, if you didn't know this, I'm going to teach you a little something about Mike. It's the moment he hears AC/DC, he immediately disrobes and pulls out Stephen King books.
I mean, it's fair.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. and
To each their own.
and a flask of cocaine.
Yeah. I have one in my back pocket right now.
Well, Ryan, you picked this movie and you kind of noted overall, but like, what's your overall synopsis? Like, clearly, I have to imagine you had fun watching it.
I had a lot of fun watching it. I turned it on last night while I was wrapping up my work, and my bartender's like mopping, and I throw on the movie. I'm like, hey, I'm going to put this movie on instead of you getting to listen to music. Sorry about that. And then the AC/DC comes on, and he's rocking out. He's having fun, sweeping up and stuff. But I'm just, the first half an hour, I was laughing the whole time. That's why I wasn't sure if it should have been reclassified as a comedy or not. And I didn't know if that was just because I was dark or, time heals all wounds in some regard with a horror movie like this.
Well, noting, thinking about the past, it's just weird. I've seen this movie a number of times, and I just always feel like all of these couples and all of these people, I just always remember them getting to the Dixie Boy sooner in the movie. But it's really like the first 45 to 55 minutes of the film.
Everybody there.
It's crazy. And so I'm like, I don't even feel like I saw this movie all too long ago. And I was like, damn, it's still like 55 minutes and they're not all there. It's crazy.
It must have made an impression on me because honestly, I haven't watched this since I rented it as a child at Blockbuster. I saw it once then, and I saw it once last night. I like shitty movies.
Yeah, it's fun. This movie's fun.
It is super fun, and if I could sit there and laugh at it and have a good time, and even make my own Mystery Science Theater 3,000 comments on it, it came out good in the end. But yeah, towards the end, it was just like, we don't know what we're doing. We got to wrap this shit up, and we're gonna be done. So like the last 30 minutes, I was a little disappointed in, but. Yeah. There were a couple good scenes in there, and the soundtrack helped at that point.
You didn't feel redemption when you read. I would definitely want to underline that 1,000. You read dialogue that there just happened to be a UFO in space.
Am I wrong? Did they mention at some point, was it maybe Bill who was like, maybe it's just aliens or something? Like somewhere, I feel like I remembered somebody was mentioned aliens, and that was the only mention of aliens at all.
And they were killed, so they were silenced.
Yeah.
They silenced the truth.
So I read
I had a lot of fun.
I read in one piece of trivia that weird golf cart military gun, when it turns, someone wrote, and I was like, I would need to watch this again, that you hear an audible like grunt growl, like
yeah,
and
you could hear a growl a couple times.
And someone was like, are the aliens invisible? Is that actually what's happening? And I was like, I guess that might be a thing, but I didn't really get that at all. Like,
no,
I mean, but also I didn't ever thought this was alien involvement until a UFO was shot out.
Exactly.
Like,
what? Wait a minute! I thought it was the tail of the comet that was doing magical things.
Right.
Rhea-M?
If the aliens were invisible, I want to see the scene with the alien where he's wielding that fucking carving knife and stabbing away.
Oh, shit. That would be awesome. Yes.
You like that one, Jim? Pie sucks.
Because nothing had happened up until that point.
That would make more sense to me overall, though, with the movie where some machines were just out to get somebody, and some machines were like, yeah, we're not doing shit.
Right. Yeah. There's an alien in the arcade throwing packs of cigarettes at
that was the kid alien. That was the alien who wanted to party. Mike, the real question is, do we call you Rhea-M from here?
Yeah.
Intergalactic Rhea-M over here. I still like Paladin, Mike. I don't know if I could ever lose it.
Oh, man.
I'll let you have that.
Damn. That game ruined you.
Well, let me throw this out. Next week, we're coming at you with another super notable director, and we're going to look at 1989 Shocker, and written and directed by Wes Craven. You're even going to meet, and Lamar's going to treat you with a little trivia, you're going to meet Wes Craven's kids throughout this film. So you get the little Cravens, the big Craven.
Constant craving.
I don't know how old any of these kids are. Yeah. Ryan, I really just want to say thank you. Thanks for being on. I hope you join us again. Like, I don't care, beer or not. Like, you like films, you're with like-minded people. I'm kind of curious, is there a movie that now that... I know there was a list that you sent us, but now that you've, like, sat with us, is there a movie you're like, I think these guys and I should watch a blank film?
No, but I'll think on it.
Yeah. I love it.
I'll think on it, and I'll come up with something, and I'll shoot you an email. We'll do it again.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely...
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank you for bringing the beers, and thank you for... being here.
Yeah, you guys are most welcome. Drinking beer and talking about fun things is always on the top of my priority list.
All right.
Yes. Please visit Fiction Beer. Please write us if you have any questions. Reach out to Ryan. Reach out to the websites. And please be drinking Pumpkin and Oktoberfest all through October, as we will be doing as I'm stuttering off into oblivion. Join me in my stuttering. Mike, I don't know how to leave off super witty. I usually tell people we're like going to do it in their ear.
Yeah, I don't know. Instead of saying something gross, can I do a quick plug?
Oh, yeah, Mike, you do have a plug.
I do have a quick plug. Yeah, tomorrow night, tomorrow the 7th, October 7th, as of the day this airs, come see my band, The Picture Tour. We're playing at the Enigma Bazaar tomorrow. Same deal as last time. Come say hi. I'll give you a shot glass, buy you a drink. Yeah, it'll be fun.
And I will always make you the same deal. I will watch that happen
Yep.
from the shadows.
Paul will be there, but don't talk to him.
like a vampire in the distance. Acknowledge my presence without words.
He'll hiss at you and retreat into the shadows.
I'm not going to growl at anyone like a weird golf
I
cart
said
machine
hiss.
gun. I won't hiss at them like a scooter. That's what I imagine scooters do to people.
Yeah.
They do.
Well, as always, thanks for listening. Drink some beer. Enjoy Halloween. Good God, it's the best season of the entire year. Watch a Halloween movie. Have fun. You know, as noted again, we're going through a ton of fun films overall. Have fun, reminisce, eat some candy. As always, Rabbit Troop sucks.
Rabbit Troop sucks.
Rabbit yourself.